Hey guys, okay, today I am back with another SGU and kind of Grenada Q&A session. What's funny is that I think I have another Q&A from one of my oldest videos wearing the same shirt, and if it's not a Q&A, it's like some type of video about moving here to Grenada. But if you're unfamiliar with me, you're new to my channel, watching this for the first time, maybe you're a prospective student, or maybe I just came up on the side of your YouTube. My name is Brittany. I am a Term 5, which is a third-year student here at SGU, St. George's University, which is located on the beautiful Caribbean island of Grenada. I also did Foundations to Vet. My girlfriend's in med. I know tons of students in the schools of arts and sciences, so I could tell you like the full shebang about a lot of things, but most of my videos and information are vet related. But these are kind of just some general coming to SGU, being in Grenada questions that I wanted to answer. I posted a Q&A on my Instagram a few weeks ago at the beginning of the term, and it's around midterms now, so I'm just answering some of those. And so yeah, the reason I'm standing is because I tend to talk a lot, and I feel like if I'm standing, I might not sit and get comfortable. But without further ado, let's answer these questions. I'm gonna try to keep this short and sweet. One thing though, I just always like showing my view in any video that I can. This is my view. I love it, love it, love it. My apartment. But yeah, I'm the only one here right now, but typically there's students living in that building and this building. And yeah, I can see Prickly Bay. It's one of the marinas here if you're not familiar with Grenada. But anyways, we're gonna go on and start. Oh, this is also one of my feral kitties that I feed. Say hey, mama. Hey, baby. Okay. Let's get started. Okay, so first of all, how did you go about finding off-campus housing? I've lived off-campus from the first term that I ever came down here in Foundations, because I brought a cat with me, and you can't live on campus with pets like at all. Nada. There's a Facebook page called SGU Off-Campus Housing Classified. There's a few others out there. You will have to show your SGU ID and email, but that's a great thing to do. Some people use realtors, and like I know some people who found great finds, but I always say the Facebook page is just because a lot of the landlords are affiliated with students. You know they're close to the bus route, because 3 miles here is like far, just with how the roads are. So it's always best because you know, like on the Facebook page, like there's other students who stayed there. So that's my 100% recommendation. But if you know word of mouth, you find websites, they say they're in certain areas, like you should be good. But yeah. How do phones work down there? So obviously, if you are familiar with any, and I'm speaking from an American point of view, most services don't have international roaming, but T-Mobile does, and they just partnered with Sprint, so I think Sprint does now too. And so it's free international roaming. It's technically supposed to be for short-term use, but I use it the whole term and I'm usually fine. And so I get free texting, free data, so I can FaceTime and all of that on my phone for free. The only thing is like obviously calling is not free, but a lot of things use WhatsApp down here, and WhatsApp technically uses data, so it's free. So just tell all your friends and family back home to get WhatsApp. Some people obviously who don't have T-Mobile and stuff will keep their phone on airplane mode the whole time they're here, and you know, you just use it when you're in Wi-Fi. The other option is some people do get a local number and a local SIM card. Your phone has to be unlocked to do that, but there's 2 plans down here, and you can pay as you go. You pay for the data you want, the minutes, the text, blah blah blah. But there are different options. I personally recommend you just switch to T-Mobile. It's the easiest thing, and then you're not having to switch SIM cards, and you can go from the States into any country really. So yeah. How can you ship large items down, like large boxes you see people shipping? So I recommend sending a barrel if you just have a lot of stuff. It's the best way. Amerijet is like the biggest, like I'd say, international one that the US has, but there's also private companies, but you'd have to be in, like I'd say, a Caribbean dominated area. Like Atlanta has them, a lot of places in New York have them, but those have private companies that will ship down here. I think that's your best bet. Shipping food down here is very expensive. Shipping appliances or like large electronics, so I was always told to like take things out of the packaging, like be mindful of how much food you're packing. But by all means, I don't think it's bad. I've done it. I was able to ship a lot of my cat stuff down here and everything, which this then followed up was how does mail work, which I actually have a whole video out there about this. You get assigned a mailbox when you start SGU, but they don't have a mail system how you're thinking of it in the US, where you have an address. There's no official addresses here, so you're assigned your mailbox whether you live on or off campus for the duration of your time being here at SGU. And any mail items, so if your family sends you letters or anything like that, you can get. But if they send anything that is not paper, it's going to be sent to the town office, the town mailbox. Then you'll get a slip in your SGU email or in your SGU mailbox saying, hey, you have a package here. You'll have to go into town, get that, and pay all the customs. It's high, it's expensive. My mom has sent like a medium or large, you know, standard UPS box. It's literally like USPS box like this big. She spent like almost $150 sending it down here, and then sometimes I can pay as much as like 50 US in taxes. So unless it's just something you need, try to ship a barrel or like a large bin down so you can just ship a lot of stuff, pay it all at once, or try to bring everything down here that you need. Amazon doesn't ship down here, UPS doesn't, FedEx does, but it's kind of expensive, and the mail takes long, period. Like, there's just nowhere around that. Do you think it's better to live off or on campus your first term? Considering how SGU has been online for the past 2.5 terms that I'm making this video, if you see this in the future, campus could be back to normal. It is required that in normal circumstances, you live on campus for your first year. Right now, obviously, when they let students come back full, they're not gonna have the accommodations to let every student who's never been on the island live on campus, so it'll likely be lottery. But I personally recommend it just because you get acclimated to the island, you learn people, and you learn stuff where word of mouth is from upper termers. It's not the end of the world. I myself never lived on campus, and I know plenty of people who didn't. You get more freedom, it's cheaper, honestly, but you get the security and knowing of the island. And some people really appreciate that. Like, I don't diss it or anything. How many pets do you have? I have 1 cat. I have fostered a litter of 3 kittens here. They were like bottle babies, like 10 days old. And like I said, I have some feral cats here that have been here just from the time I've been here this time, and there's like 3 of them, but I only have 1 cat that travels back and forth with me. What is the best way to prepare for the application process? Specifically to SGU, make sure, or any vet school, any med school, anything you're applying to, make sure you have all your prereqs done, have the experience, have everything that they're asking, and be prepared for the interview. In your application, you want to stick out from other applicants. Like, don't just tell them like, hi, my name is Bob and I want to be a doctor. Like, tell them why, and not just because I like surgery or I like helping animals, or, you know, I've always wanted to be this IT tech. Like, tell them why, what makes you want to like make a difference in society. Like, stick out, you know. Do you think I should get a car when moving down here? If you live on campus, you really don't need to. I know plenty of people who live off campus without a car. It's very convenient, especially if you have pets, because the buses, technically, you're not supposed to have pets on them. I've traveled with Toulouse in a carrier before I ever had a car. I didn't get a car until the end of my first term, which was my 2nd semester on the island. And it's a lot of walking. I lost a lot of weight, but I think, you know, it can go either way. You can rent, you can buy. I personally think buying is a better option for me because I have a dad who knows a lot about cars. I can call him up. I know kind of a little because I've watched him work on cars. Like, my dad could build a car, I feel like. And at the end of the day, you buy that car, and when you sell it, that's money you have going into your clinical year. But then you have to also have insurance, which is pretty cheap down here. I'm under 25, so I paid 300 EC roughly for the entire year. That's no, 300 US for the entire year. It was about 600 EC for the year. And it can be cheaper if you're over 25. You have to have your registration, blah, blah, blah. It's not expensive. It's just, do you want to maintain the car? Versus if you rent, you're just paying that, like you're paying apartment rent, and someone else, your mechanic, whomever you're buying it from, takes up everything else. So pros and cons, and you can message me if you have a few more questions about that. But of course, if you rent, that's just it. You're renting. What's something I never thought I'd need until it was unavailable? Whew. Wow. That's a good one. It's a really hard one because I feel like living down here has made me realize how much you don't need. Like, there's been times that I've been inconvenienced by something not being like readily available. Like, just this semester, my W and Q messed up on my laptop, and I know there are places to quote unquote fix your laptop, but like, they're super expensive down here, especially if you have a Mac. I don't have a Mac, but especially getting your Mac fixed, it's super expensive. So it's things like that, or that, like, I guess like a Walmart, like just being able to go to one store and like you have your groceries, you have everything, you can find clothes, like just small things. But again, it makes you realize like how much you really don't need and how much like in America we have, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize. But I don't think I can pinpoint just one thing. Like, living down here, I feel like I've just been great. Like, I'm living my best life down here with what I have. I mean, yes, I've shipped things down here, but like sometimes when stuff comes up and I don't have it, I make it work. I figure out how to make something. I figure out how to improvise, and not every student is willing to do that. There's a lot of entitled American people that come down here, but there's a lot of open-minded people too. So try to be that open-minded person. What are some of your favorite places in Grenada? Definitely the waterfalls. I love the beaches too, but something about the hikes to the waterfalls. I love Seven Sisters, and I recently went to Rainbow Falls. I have a vlog coming up. I haven't posted it yet, and I don't know if I'm gonna post this or that first, but just know it's there. Those are probably my two favorite places that I've been. How does money work there? $1 US is equivalent to, oh wow, that's a very big lizard, baby. My feral cat just bought a very large lizard up here to me. $1 US is equivalent to $2.67 EC, give or take. A lot of places will round that to $2.70 because it's like in their favor. Blah. There are ATMs down here. A lot of students are recommended to get like a Charles Schwab account. I've personally been fine without it. The thing with the Charles Schwab account, it's an international account, so there's no bank fees. There's no like fees anytime you use the card, and any fees that are incurred are reimbursed to you at the end of the month. I personally just keep my Wells Fargo. It charges me $3 US when I have to take cash out of the ATM, but like what I do is, and what I recommend is that if you're gonna go that route, like keeping your like foreign account, is just take out like a good amount. Like I take out like 400 EC at a time and just let that last. That should last over a month. That's over $100 US. A lot of things down here are cash. Bigger places and a lot of places on campus will take card, but even some of the vendors on campus don't take card, so it just depends. But yeah, and the ATMs give out EC. And I would honestly try to just get EC here as opposed to bringing US money down, because again, that conversion rate, you end up losing a little more as opposed to if you just have the exact change in EC. How is it during really bad weather like thunderstorms and hurricanes? It rains a lot. The rainy season is like late July, August through December. We're under the hurricane belt here in Grenada, so they haven't been hit by a hurricane in like several years. And we don't get really bad thunderstorms. Like this morning, actually, it rained pretty hard. And it thundered, and it was really weird because you never hear thunder down here. No matter how hard it's raining, it's very rare that you hear thunder. But they do get really nice rainbows. So yeah, it's the cost of living high. I think it's higher. Like I pay $500 a month for my apartment, and I know some people who pay $1,500 a month. Mine is much cheaper than anything you'd find in the US, versus theirs are probably like average of what you would find like in some places in the US. But I feel like groceries can be higher, especially because a lot of foods are imported. And I feel like even when you try to eat local and eat the bare minimum, it still comes out high. Gas is higher here. It's close to about, it's like almost 15 EC a gallon. So that's a little under 5 US a gallon. The good thing is, like I said, even though like it takes long to get here because of how the roads are windy, like my tank will last me at least 2 weeks, but it's still high. So it's subjective, I think. It depends on what you're comparing, but I would say yes, even alone in the flight getting here for me from Atlanta, a lot of times a round trip ticket is about $800. For people out on the West Coast, I've heard it being over $1,000. You can get cheap flights from New York and Miami because those are directly where they come. Those are the only 2 places in the US that fly directly here. I think North Carolina, Charlotte does too, but those you might find under $400 one way or a round trip, but it's high. So how is it moving someone else here too to live there? I know a lot of people whose significant others move here that aren't in school. People move their families, so their children. There is a Montessori school here that's, you know, accredited, and children will go there because then they can, you know, go back to the States and stay in their grade level. There's not a lot of work opportunities just because students aren't here on visas, and usually their spouses aren't either because it's so short term. So it's a lot of like under the counter jobs. Hopefully finding an online job that can let you work from home down here, or just doing small things. I've known some people to babysit. I've known people help the fishermen out. You know, it just depends, but I know quite a bit of people who do come down here with others. I'm trying to hurry. How do you get used to those hills? You don't. Straight answer, you don't. No matter how many times you walk up these big hills, they never get easier. I walked up it sometimes 2 and 3 times a day for two terms. Never got easier. Never got easier. Are there vegan options? Are there organic food options? I get asked these all the time. There are vegan food options. In the grocery store, you see like the little beef crumbles and all the meat foods now, like actually in IGA, which is like the campus grocery store most students use. And organic food, almost every produce item here is homegrown on the island in someone's backyard. So I don't know how much more organic you can get. Like, I mean, my landlords don't sell dairy items, but like mangoes, oranges, like you see people on the side of the road and you can tell they've just picked them. Like half the time you get stuff and there's still dirt on them, you know, they're so fresh. And I know you might say, well, every plant is grown in the ground. There's no chemical fertilizers. Like bell peppers here are like this big. And you know, in the States you get one that like, you're like, wow, a bell pepper. Like stuff is like in its normal state down here. Like the bananas are like this. Even like you see some longer ones, but like, you know, in the States, the bananas are like long. Like everything down here is like fresh. It's like organic, if you want to say. There are some things that are imported that aren't grown here, but for the most part, like everything's fresh, and like buying local is always cheaper. Same with the fish. You can buy fresh fish at the fish market the day as the fishermen are coming back from the ocean. Like the chickens are like, and the pork, the beef, everything. If you do eat meat, it's here. So yeah. What should I pack and bring? That's a good question. That's probably like a longer question. I'm trying to hurry up. I'd say bring definitely your necessities. And when I say necessities, I mean a lot of things that you can't maybe find on the island. You have to think like when you like certain brands back home, they likely don't have them here. And if they do, it might only be one. If you like Dove soap, it might only be the original Dove soap. If you use that rare, it's for my healthy, natural, dry skin, like no, bring that down here. Bring your hair products down here. Again, there are some, they're just more expensive. Ship a barrel, pack it in your suitcase. You know, if you're one of those people that, you know, can't have someone move with you, because if you bring someone with you, even if they're not living here, they can help bring something. But if you don't have that, I understand that. Maybe you can't afford to send a barrel down because that can get pricey. There's so many places to buy things on the island that literally sell everything. Is it gonna be a little more expensive? Yes. But sometimes I sit and think like, I paid almost $200 to send this barrel down and then almost $100 in taxes. And even though stuff is higher here, when you add up the math, it's almost kind of equal. It's just, you know, if you bought it from the States, you bought exactly what you wanted. But there's bedding, pillows, trash cans, fans, like everything down here, plates, cups, home goods, anything you could need, you can find it here. And not only that, again, like once campus is back into full swing, there's always someone leaving. There's always term 6 vet students, term 5 med, School of Arts and Science students. There's always someone leaving and selling stuff. And there's usually good quality because people are only here 2 to 3 years, you know? So you'll be good. But if you have any questions, again, message me. Do a lot of people transfer out? I've been asked this only a few times, at least for the vet school, and not really. Usually it's because of personal reasons, or someone comes down and just drastically hates the island, but that's not common. Like I can't even, probably I can maybe tell you one person that's done it. Like not tell you, but I can think of one person. So yeah. I'm worried about being away from my family. How is that? I get asked that a lot too, like how is it just being so far away from home? Everyone down here is far away from home. Most people are. Obviously there's Grenadians here, or people from Trinidad and Barbados, like right here, that can easily get home. But for most of the vet and med school, most people are from the US and Canada and even Africa and like Europe. We're all far. And so you meet people that are just doing the same thing as you're doing. They're looking for friends. They're looking for that family here. There's so many students that make friends with the locals. I have so many local friends. And those become your family. And then you still get to go home for breaks. Even if you don't go home like on winter break, you can go home summer break. And you get the chance to go back. Like, and it's only a few years. Like I tell everyone, this is an opportunity you'll never get anywhere else. You should definitely do it. And so yeah, like everyone who's done this has done it, and like I think it's doable. Okay, assuming, because I do this video in clips, I can't see how long this whole footage is, but I'm thinking this is under 20 minutes, and that's good for me because I could have elaborated on a lot more of that stuff. And if you have any questions, you want that further elaboration, or you just like you have some more specific questions, you need some more like guidance, yada yada yada, feel free to contact me on my Instagram. I always respond. I'm like always checking my phone. I'm also like currently, again, like, because I never know, you might see this 2 years from now, I'm currently the president of SBM Affairs at SGU on student government. So I know a lot of stuff like with the vet school. So like if you have questions, you have concerns, like please reach out to me. And if not, check out my other videos. I have a lot about SGU. I have a lot about things to do in Grenada. And if you're just watching because you like me, you like listening to me talk, thanks again. Also, wanted to shout out, if you notice my hair is braided, I never ever let anyone touch my hair. I don't like getting my hair done. There's been a few times I let my sisters do it, and that's it. Like ever since like I graduated high school, I've been natural, and like I don't go to the hair salon anymore. But everyone was like, oh, you should braid your hair, especially my girlfriend. And so I was like, let me do it. And so my friend Felicia braided it. Like if you're coming to Grenada, if you live in Grenada and you want to get braids, she also does like when you add hair and everything. You should definitely check out her Instagram because she's amazing. And fun fact, like getting your hair braided here is like 1,000 times cheaper in the US than in the US, like much cheaper. But I just think it looks great. Okay, I know COVID's still out there, so stay safe, be great, and until next time,